Grand Slam semifinalist calls for Alexandra Eala's fans to support her at the Australian Open. Alexandra Eala should head to Melbourne brimming with confidence after enjoying a solid preparation for the Australian Open. 2026 will mark her first appearance in the main draw at this event, having guaranteed her spot after the stunning work she put in the year prior. This saw her rise from around 138 in the world rankings to 49th now, thus securing her spot in major events for the foreseeable future. However, participation will not be the end goal for a player as talented and driven as Alexandra Eala. She will want more, and backed by a relentless wave of Filipino backing, she has every right to strive for greatness. Donna Vekic reacts after losing to Alexandra Eala at the Kuyang Classic. In fact, such is the stature of this support, one top WTA player has actually come out and called for the Philippines to share some of the love ahead of the Australian Open after losing to Eala at the Kuyang Classic. Featuring in this exhibition event ahead of a trip to Melbourne, it was Donna Vekic who was well beaten by the 20-year-old talent. In winning that match, Eala claimed the Yvonne Goolagong-Cawley Trophy and her second win over the Croatian in a week. Speaking after her defeat, Vekic was naturally impressed with her opponent and took time to praise both her and her fanbase. "Every time I play against Alex, I feel like we're playing in the center of the Philippines, so I don't know, there's so many of you guys out there. I think it was still a good match. Congrats to Alex, she played really well. Eventually I'll get to you. Well, there's not even 1% of Croatians as much as there are people in the Philippines. Maybe they'll adopt me and support me in the Australian Open." It's not often that a Grand Slam semifinalist calls on another player's fanbase for support ahead of a major tournament, but even Eala has admitted she's been surprised by her fans in Australia of late. Alexandra Eala talks about her preparation for the Australian Open. Speaking to the Australian Open press, it seems like Eala is ready and raring to compete in her first main draw in Melbourne. Asked about her landmark campaign in 2025, which has propelled her to this current standing, she admitted, "How do I embrace that? I try to take it with a spoonful of gratitude. I think not a lot of people get to experience this in their lifetime, so I'm just so grateful to be in this position and to have that support. I think, if anything, it's just try to take it in with the positives. It sure does help when I'm out on court and people are supporting, so yeah." Then speaking about her preparation for the event, Eala added, "Well, it definitely was great for confidence, and to get matches in always helps before slams. So yeah, I'm confident with how I'm playing. Doesn't mean that the matches aren't going to be tough here, so I'm ready for anything, yeah." A call across the court, when a Grand Slam voice rose for Alexandra Eala. The stadium was almost empty, the echo of footsteps louder than the applause that had once filled the air. Melbourne's summer heat still clung to the blue courts, and somewhere beyond the gates, the Australian Open was already beginning to breathe again, preparing for another year of dreams, heartbreak, and history. It was in this quiet moment that a Grand Slam semi-finalist spoke, not with the roar of competition, but with the clarity of conviction. "I've been on these courts," the player said, resting a hand on the net as if it were an old friend. "And I know how much courage it takes to step out here when the whole world is watching. That's why I'm asking you to show up for Alexandra Eala." The name carried weight. Alexandra Eala was no longer just a promising junior or a headline from a distant corner of the tennis world. She was becoming something more, something real, forged through early mornings, long flights, and matches that tested her patience as much as her backhand. But talent alone, the semi-finalist knew, was never enough. Tennis can be a lonely sport. From the outside, it looks glamorous: bright lights, packed stadiums, flags waving, applause rising and falling like waves. But from the inside, it is a long walk from the locker room to the baseline, a walk that feels even longer when doubt creeps in. The semi-finalist had felt it before, standing at Rod Laver Arena with legs heavy and mind racing, wondering if belief could last one more set. "That noise you make," the player continued, turning toward an imaginary crowd, "it matters. More than you think." For Alexandra, the Australian Open represented more than just another tournament. It was a statement of arrival. Every match was a chapter in a story still being written, a story about a young athlete carrying not only her racket, but the hopes of people who saw themselves in her fight. Each point won was a reminder that perseverance speaks louder than rankings. The semi-finalists remembered their own first deep run at a Grand Slam. The nerves. The silence between serves. The moment when the crowd began to lean in, willing them forward with every clap and shout. That support had turned fatigue into fuel. I wouldn't have made it to the semis without them, the player admitted. There were moments I wanted to disappear into the court. Instead, I stood taller because someone believed. And belief is contagious. Alexandra Eala's game was built on more than power or precision. It was built on resilience. On chasing down balls others would let go. On resetting after a double fault, eyes forward, shoulders loose, heart steady. But even the strongest resolve can waver under pressure, especially on the sport's biggest stage. That is where the fans come in. Cheer for her when she wins a long rally, the semi-finalist urged. But cheer louder when she loses one. Let her know she's not alone. The Australian Open has always been a place where stories unfold under the sun and stars. Legends have risen there, unknowns have stunned giants, and crowds have adopted players as their own, regardless of nationality. It is a tournament that rewards courage as much as skill. Alexandra Eala was stepping into that tradition. In the stands, fans would wear her colors, wave flags, and chant her name. Some would be watching her live for the first time, discovering her calm intensity, her quiet fist pumps, the way she listened to her inner rhythm between points. Others would have followed her journey for years, waiting patiently for this moment. The semi-finalists' message was simple, but powerful. Your support won't guarantee a win, the player said, smiling softly. But it will guarantee something just as important. It will remind her why she started. Why she picked up a racket. Why she trained when no one was watching. Why she believed that she belonged on the same courts as the best in the world. As the sun dipped lower and the stadium lights flickered on, the call lingered in the air. A reminder that tennis, for all its individual battles, is never truly a solo act. Behind every player stands a chorus of voices, ready to lift them when the match grows heavy. And when Alexandra Eala walks onto the court at the Australian Open, the hope is that she will hear them.